I see both sides, and I want to thank the members of the public for being here tonight, and I want to thank you, Billy Walsh, for this novel concept. And you know that I've spoken with you, been to the site, talked about it. I love this idea. I hate the location. I represent the 4th Ward. It's a block away. I'm elected and only sitting in this seat because of the people from the 4th Ward. I counted the number of people opposed. I counted the number of people against. The majority of people against are the people I represent. I love this novelty bowling concept. I just don't think it's the right location. I want to correct a couple of things that have been said over the last 2 hearings. The Pastime Club in Mendham is a bowling alley. They don't serve alcohol. So I want to just correct something that was said, was that there is a past practice, an example of an existing bowling alley that does not serve alcohol. So they do not allow drinking. We've seen evidence that there's no parking capacity. We've heard people talk that there's been parking that's been spilling over into their neighborhoods. I ran to promote economic development, and I also ran to promote neighborhood preservation. And this is a meeting where I feel like I'm in Psychology 101, and I'm looking at the old lady and the young lady, and the old lady and the young lady, and the old lady and the young lady, and I'm seeing both sides. This is definitely the toughest meeting I've been to. We've seen evidence of that this location is just not right. We've talked about, and we've heard the theme over and over again about the high concentration of bars in this area. And I have constituents sitting here tonight that came out tonight, on a summer evening when they could be home, but, they're talking about the character of the neighborhood changing, how I think Donna McNamara talked about how many years ago she was active in helping to revitalize this town and to change it back then. And so I presented an alternative location, and that's the location adjacent to the Grasshopper. It's a triangular lot. You could build 6 stories. You could build a league compliant bowling alley there. This would not be league compliant. This would only be novelty. We've heard about health issues, sanitation issues, noise, safety, parking spillover, garbage. I want to draw a distinction. We heard tonight that we have 6 yoga places. Yoga places are not a mind-altering activity. Maybe for some people. But I think that there's a real distinction between, an ice cream shop and a bar bowling alley. However, I will say that does touch on a very important aspect about our town and our zoning. But we're not here to talk about zoning. We're here to talk about whether or not we want to transfer this liquor license. And I just don't think this is a good location. I've been on this council for 5 years. I've heard countless, and when I ran for re-election again, more countless stories about urination. And this isn't my ward. This is actually technically Councilwoman Feldman's ward, where I'm hearing horrible stories about urination, defecation, vomit, and yes, defecation. I mean, I think that this is, it's not your fault, Billy, and I'm not blaming you, and I'm not blaming Gracie Sunshine, but maybe this council should think about talking about first these problems, addressing these problems, and then maybe revisiting this issue. Maybe that's the most legitimate, fair thing. And then the last thing I will say is there is a historic, and I'm using historic loosely, a building there right now. It's an office building, it's not a bar. We're talking about moving a liquor license to a building where there's an office building. So again, I know it's not technically a violation of zoning, but there isn't a bar there now. And we've talked about a high concentration of bars. And I ask you, Mr. Armington, and I ask you, Council President Harris, how would you feel if this was being proposed a block from your house? How would you vote? how would you vote? Because I have constituents sitting here tonight that came out on a summer evening, and they have $1 million house, and this is being proposed a block from their house. How would you feel? And I bet you, Mr. Armington, just like you voted no against Football Landia, you would vote no against this tonight. And this is a way where we could show maybe some unity as a council by voting against. So I can't support this location. When we met on June 13th, the initial comment from Councilor Roberts was we want to share with you our intention. We know this is just a transfer, but we want to share with you what we're going to do. And you were kind enough to tell us you were going to build a bowling alley at this location and give us that information. I can't support it. But again, I love the idea. I hate the location.